Continue our breaking news analysis of the guilty verdict reached against the 3 white men responsible for the murder of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery. Now I want to examine the role that white male vigilantism played in all of this. Let's bring in our panel. Historian and professor of journalism at George Washington University, Jesse Holland, joins me from Washington, D.C., and Sue Ann Robinson is still with us from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thank you both. Jesse, I want to start with you. America has a long and sordid history of racially motivated violence in the name of a citizen's right to take matters into their own hands and uphold the law. We've seen this happen time and time again, from Emmett Till to Trayvon Martin. Can you give us some historical context regarding the prevalence of white male vigilantism in the U.S.?
And first, thank you for having me on tonight. But we can go all the way back to before the Civil War, and frankly, all the way back to the Revolutionary War, where white men in America have taken the law into their own hands and lynched, murdered, burned. We see the Red Summer riots. We can talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. We can talk about Rosewood in Florida. We can talk about the lynchings in the South and the North that go all the way back through the Jim Crow era and all the way back to the Civil War. One of the reasons why I suspect the original DA didn't want to prosecute this is because he didn't think he could find a jury that would say that this was wrong. One of the great things about this is right now we see that there is a backlash right now against vigilante justice from white Americans. But we have to keep in mind, this is just this one jury. There's no telling what another jury in the South, in the North, in the West would say if it happens again. And unfortunately, we know it's going to happen again.
As history tells us so. You know, Sue Ann, usually when these vigilante cases occur, self-defense is the go-to argument for the defendants. We just saw it with Kyle Rittenhouse. Why didn't that defense hold up in this trial?
Well, the problem is, honestly, Travis McMichael got on the stand and testified that Ahmaud Arbery was doing nothing. And so at that point, I think he informed the jury and all of us of something that we already knew. He was going after Ahmaud Arbery simply because he was Black and he was in the neighborhood. And to him, that raised his antenna, and he thought that was enough. And he thought, you know, racially profiling Ahmaud Arbery, that, oh, we're bound to find something. You know, even when he's talking to the police officer that's on the body cam, he's like, yeah, just go investigate and figure out. He's got to have been doing something. He's around here. It's kind of like, why is your assumption that he's doing something wrong as opposed to you actually seeing him doing something wrong? And that's really what the jury message was. You can't racially profile someone, see someone that's African American and just assume, oh, they're up to no good because they have Black skin. And the jury's message was, we're not gonna accept that. This particular jury.
Well, and you know, the thing is that actually you can, or at least you could, in terms of America,
well,
as Jesse was just laying out.
Police do it every day.
Every time.
So as a result. Every time, right? Every time. So as a result of the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery, the Georgia legislature then changed its citizen arrest law. And like Jesse was just saying, that law had been in place since before the Civil War. And, you know, I want to know how and why have these citizens arrest laws been used to justify depriving Black people of our rights? And I know, obviously, slave patrols, but kind of walk us through a little bit more of how these are continuing to be used in modern era.
Well, one of the things one of the things that you can see is that we're still trying to use those laws just in a more creative way. This is what Texas is doing with this abortion law. They're trying to deputize white Americans and other Americans to, on their own, stop abortions through the courts. For some reason, this country has this fascination with vigilante justice. And frankly, we romanticize it with superheroes. We talk about it with all of our Western movies, and frankly, we went through a whole era where we deified people like Clint Eastwood and Charles Bronson for movies where they would go out and shoot people before they were ever even brought to justice. So we have some fascination with vigilante justice for white Americans. Now, that does not apply for Black Americans. If this, frankly, our gun control laws came about to ensure Black Americans did not have weapons where they could defend themselves for themselves. So, for some reason, we have this this whole fetish over white American vigilante justice, where we seem to think it's okay for them, but it's not okay for anyone else. Keep trying to find ways to use it in our laws.
So that old citizen's arrest law was still in place when these men committed this murder. And Sue Ann, you know, now that the state actually made those adjustments, can we actually expect more legislative and behavioral change going forward? Or you think this will be part of a larger national discussion?
Yes, I think it definitely will be. I think all the legal team and everyone involved in Ahmaud's case is definitely pushing for that, and was part of the team that pushed for Georgia to actually eliminate their citizens arrest laws. I think the other guest is absolutely correct, because a lot of those things are rooted in slave catching and slave patrols. When you actually look to the legislative history, there's no way to justify it currently. And so I think that that's going to give some momentum and give the team and even Miss Wanda Cooper Jones some more work to do.
I'd like to invite you both to just comment on the politics at play here. As we talk about on this show, certainly there's a real deep culture issue with regards to the history of America, of how we got here in this moment. And I wonder what you see on both sides of the aisle with regards to the political will to really tackle this issue outside of such a devastating and horrible tragedy.
Well, I'll start and say I have to unfortunately disagree with Sue Ann, because I don't think that we'll see many legislatures outside of Georgia's move to change these kind of laws, but until they have a case like this staring them in the face. We don't normally see, especially in the South, we don't normally see these type of movements until someone dies, and then we end up trying to change the laws. Our legislatures and our governments are really not that proactive when it comes to changing laws. And by the way, we've started moving we might take the citizens arrest laws off the books, but now we're seeing states moving toward the stand your ground laws, which is once again people taking the law into their own hands and trying to give themselves excuses for killing people that they're scared of. So I don't think we're going to see this move. I think we'll see it change to what Texas is doing to sue, to encourage people to sue people they don't like, and for causes they don't like. And then we'll see more states come with the stand your ground law to give them the same excuses they were using for under the citizens arrests.
I hear you, and I really think that power concedes nothing without demand. I think that if you start as your starting point for this case and the verdict today, if you start from Trayvon and you look at that case and the breakdown and when the charges were finally filed and how he was finally arrested and how we all sat through the trial and were like, duh, he killed a child, this is going to go this way, and then he was found not guilty, to come in a way full circle in a similar situation and see that a jury said, you know what, we're not going to accept that almost 10 years after Trayvon. I think there is movement. In terms of the legislatures changing things and doing things, it is a movement. It has to be behind someone. And Ahmaud Arbery lost his life. And I don't think this is the last. I was with Miss Wanda Cooper Jones this morning in Brunswick. I don't think this is the last we're going to hear from her. I highly doubt she's going to go away and just sit down and say she got justice for her son. I'm sure that she is going to be pursuing justice to see that no other mother has to go through this. And I think the path to that is going to be attacking those types of laws in other states.
I only have a minute left, but I want to pose this to you both very quickly. How can we, as citizens, actively prevent incidents like this from happening, and how can we protect ourselves?
Well, I'll start by saying that we need to make sure that we go out and vote, because it's the vote that gives you those district attorneys. It's the vote that gives you the sheriffs. It's the votes that is being registered to vote that gets you on the grand juries and gets you into the trials as jurors. If we don't participate in the process, we can't change the process. So especially in rural places like Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, we have to ensure that our voices are heard when we choose the people who are supposed to uphold the law, and when we choose the people who are supposed to defend our rights in court. If we don't participate in those processes, we get DAs who say, you know what, we're just not even going to prosecute this. That's what we have to stop.
I agree. And then when you get to jury selection, don't self-eliminate yourself by saying, oh, well, I've had bad experience with police, I can't be fair and impartial. Understand that your life experience actually informs you, makes you a more informed juror to assess the facts and apply the law, and understand that. Because a lot of times we do make it to the jury selection part, we're showing up, but then we're eliminating ourselves and saying things like, because I go to church, I can't serve on a jury. Because I believe in God, I can't serve on the jury, and self-eliminating. So if I had $1 for every African American I've had on a jury panel that self-eliminated themselves, I would be a millionaire. And so I think that we really have to sit down and focus on understanding that your life experience makes you a more fair juror, because you have a different perspective when you're looking at the facts.
Jesse, Sue Ann, thank you both for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you.